I'm going to move forward with roll call, and Melissa should just be here any second with the updated agenda. I want to keep it on time because we have Ms. Castillo from Councilman Bonin's office, who has a short window of time with us tonight, and I want to honor her time because the majority of what we're going to be discussing tonight is revolving around the inter-departmental plan for a Venice Beach public safety assessment. And I'll call roll. Tom Elliott, I'm present. Ron Kramer.
Present.
Matt Moore.
Present.
Gail Rogers. Therese.
Here.
Beetler. Shelley Gomez.
She won't be here.
So we will save the approval for agenda until the agenda arrives. In the meantime, the first item is the item that I just discussed, which is the city plan for a Venice Beach public safety assessment, and that was emailed out to all the committee members. I don't know, did you guys get a chance to read it?
Yes.
Okay, so you know what we're talking about. So I think what I'd like to do is start with Ms. Castillo. If you could just sort of encapsulate how the concept for the assessment came to pass, and I'm sure you know the answer to that, but if you could share that with us, and how also just so we understand how those different departments wind up coming together to weigh in on it.
Okay, so as I'm sure everyone has heard many times, Oceanfront Walk is a bit complicated because it's where different departments meet. So you've got recreation and parks right up, it's all of Oceanfront Walk right up to the property lines on the east side of Oceanfront Walk. So you've got city recreation parks property right up against private property. Then you've got it where it meets the streets, so it meets Bureau of Street Services. You've got transportation involved whenever you're talking about city streets, stop signs, any type of signage. Then you've got LAPD, who patrols Oceanfront Walk and the surrounding streets. You've got fire department that needs to access Oceanfront Walk whenever there's an emergency, which I'm sure you guys see them out there all the time. Usually paramedic services. So that's kind of how they're all involved. Bureau of Engineering is involved pretty much on most projects. Like they're involved in our parks project and street projects that require engineering to a degree of expertise that's not that the recreation park staff don't have or street services staff don't have. So Bureau of Engineering is not the brains. The other departments are brains also, but you know they provide a different level of expertise, so they're involved in this as well. So that's how all the departments are involved in this, and there was a series of meetings on site, then there was another meeting off site with LAPD, and then there's probably been about 3 or 4 meetings to get this, and then a bunch of emails thrown around, draft reports, different input coming in from different departments. So that's how we came to this recreation parks as the lead agency on this project, on this path.
And what about aging and rivers?
So there are various council committees in the city council. Arts, parks, aging and rivers. Arts, parks, health, aging and rivers is one of the council committees of the city council. So originally this was going to be heard by that committee and public safety. Public safety waived this out of their committee. So
Yeah, I'll come up and fill one of these 2 seats, please. Thank you.
It'll only be heard by arts, parks, health, aging and rivers.
Okay.
And then after that, it'll go on to the full city council.
So that's a group there's a group of committees that always meet on the various topics.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to assume, but I wanted to clarify that for everybody else.
Arts, parks, aging is one. Arts, parks, aging, health, and rivers. They just changed names.
Okay, so I would like our committee, because you asked for us to weigh in. So because so far, Gail, did you get a chance to read the public safety.
12 pages.
Awesome. So.
And I mean, just so you guys know, this was scheduled to be heard in our committee, in Arts, Parks, and Aging, on September 24th, after the full board meeting last month. So we had city staff good to go, ready to give a presentation at last month's board meeting, but this wasn't on the agenda, so we had to let all the staff know, sorry, please you don't need to attend this meeting, but we will need you to attend another meeting shortly. So we're really trying to get this heard. Unfortunately, if we get to a point where it's not heard by VNC first, we'll have to just go to schedule it at Arts, Parks, and Aging.
I'm sorry, bye.
VNC.
But we're not putting it in. Yeah, because our hope is that if you guys do a town hall, we're hoping that you do a special meeting afterwards and vote on it right then, so we can move forward.
One more time what the date was that you.
So there's only 2 dates that the council member is available in October.
Right, you're talking about the town hall, but I'm talking about this meeting.
So we have not rescheduled.
Okay, good. This is all on our agenda for tonight. That'll all become clear. So, does anybody from my committee have any specific questions for Ms. Castillo-Ray?
Regarding
This would be the inter-departmental plan.
Okay.
Comments?
Comments or questions? Now's the time.
Okay.
Comments you read.
Okay. Lest I sound insensitive, I know someone was killed, so you have, I guess we have to be sensitive. But it seems like an overreaction because it's very, this to me, I've said it before, it was a random crazy person. You know, when I walk down the ocean front, I don't think about like a car coming. So, you know me, the old fart, I'm more concerned with bicycles hitting me, because that's, and I keep complaining, and I go to the police, they say, can't you enforce it? Nah, we can't do that. Like, I was a school teacher, I told the kids, don't shoot guns, and eventually they got it, you know. You have to tell them you can't be down for it. So anyway, but I don't want to, you can't say, oh, this is an overreaction, it's going to sound insensitive, so yeah, I guess you have to go along. I don't think about cars. And then and then one more thing, I saw the amount, I saw $1 million, I'm like, wait a minute, did they put a decimal? What were they? I saw something about $1 million, I saw, did anyone see that?
You mean how much it was gonna cost?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was
something.
really expensive.
I saw $1 million, it went over $1 million, yeah. 1,200,000 for 5 locations for the automated retractable bollards.
All right.
That's a lot of money.
Um,
All right, so I'm done.
Did you? I mean, I thought that was very clearly somebody was thinking carefully when they noted that the possibility of automatic bollards may not work so well close to the ocean with
and that's why
issues
there's
of
a
salt.
higher cost.
Right.
Because you have to consider maintenance.
Yes.
If those aren't working and you're delaying emergency response,
Right.
that would cause more issues than had there been.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Worse than anybody else from the committee have a question or comment for Ms. Castillo?
I understand that the fire department's concerned about the automated retractable, whatever they are.
Bollards.
Bollards, because they could delay response. So you're essentially trading off one death from any potential.
Well, that's why there wouldn't be retractable bollards at every spot. So when Rec and Parks, when all the departments met together, there were certain spots where fire said we need to have really easy access here. So it's not at every access point that there would be the retractable bollards. But LAFD did say that they need to have I think within 20 feet. Not 20 feet. But there is a certain spacing, so like every other street is supposed to be open.
So if another crazy person wanted to do this again, he just had to choose the right.
Well, that's the thing. We're not, you can prevent,
Overkill, by the way. It's overkill.
So there's two things that you're looking at. Are you trying to prevent something like this from ever happening ever again, or are you just trying to make it safer in general so that the person that's accidentally driving on Ocean Front Walk, which we hear happens quite often, isn't going to be driving on So,
But those people didn't, go ahead, and I'll.
Where's the $1.2 million coming from?
we have yet to identify that.
Because, you know, I mean, if you can get it for that, money can show up for this fluke accident to put these things that may have absolutely no benefit ever again, and not be able to find a fraction of that to clean up the place. Seems like that's what needs to be analyzed here more than anything. From, you know, somebody who wants to see things better.
Matt? I, on the contrary, thought it was very well written and very well thought out, and I do understand that the automated bollards would be very expensive, and it would be my opinion to minimize or not go with those for that reason of their potential ineffectiveness and potential to cause greater problems than the agendas have arrived, I think. So I understand that, but what I'm impressed with is it goes beyond the concept of just bollards and just safety and goes into the concept of beautification, and I really like the forward thinking about how to create spaces and zones within the park that offer sort of an indication of what's supposed to be happening here. As an example, there's so many streets on Brooks, where, as an example, Brooks Avenue, where I live, where people turn down Brooks Avenue, and you've all heard me say this before, because there's not even a sign on Pacific that says no beach parking. Okay, so people turn down and they get all the way to where there are now bollards, which there weren't before, and it's not until they actually arrive at the boardwalk that they realize that they've reached a dead end, and now they're trying to back up, but there's other cars behind them, and so now it's a complete traffic jam. So I think that that you've touched on something that is the tip of something amazing, which is how all these corridors that come down to the boardwalk can become better utilized and better realize that they're not just, it's not a through street, you can't just drive on the boardwalk. So those dead-end streets have been there since actually Oceanfront Walk was a drivable street 100 years ago. Now it's time to do something different. I would say the only thing that's not taken into consideration where you have those sort of like park zones is the fact that the one sets of vehicles that do need to go there, aside from emergency vehicles, are delivery vehicles. So you do have delivery vehicles that need to pull right up to the edge of the boardwalk to be able to unload kegs of beer, for example, at restaurants and what have you. But I think that the general tone is exactly in the right direction to figure out how side streets can be better utilized and signage can be more appropriate so that people, before they get to Speedway, because Speedway is their last ditch effort to turn south. So if they pass Speedway, now they're in some dead end and they're not sure what to do, and now they're trying, and now if there's bollards there, they're really going to be having to make a 12-point turn to turn around. So I think you're onto something. I think that I would like to see even more thought, because this is a really big deal. So 30 days and then that's it is a short window of time for something that's going to have a very lasting effect on the boardwalk. And the other comment that I had was about the cameras, and something that I had been meaning to bring up on this Oceanfront Walk Committee, which is having businesses who have cameras, making them available if they're willing to. They're cameras that are pointing at the boardwalk and pointing it onto public spaces. I can't tell you how many times we have the police come to us and say, hey, can we access your camera because somebody stole a bike or somebody stabbed somebody and they were running down the boardwalk? can we access your camera? I would like to make those cameras available to LAPD, so that all, God forbid, it may not be some idiot driving down the boardwalk, but it may be some idiot doing something else on the boardwalk, like happens every day on the boardwalk. So that the cameras can be, and I would like the Oceanfront Walk Committee to take the lead on cameras on the boardwalk for use by the city, and have business owners, pool together and make that a possibility, so that there is, we actually wanted to do a website that would be possibly part of the VNC, but certainly this has to be vetted and discussed before our committee. But I want to see the camera idea go much further than where you're going with.
And that's where they got the majority of their footage, were from businesses. So, the majority of the footage did come from businesses.
Yeah, and there's total transparency. Like it could be literally accessed by tourists all around the world. It could say, hey, I wonder what the weather's like on Venice Beach right now. And it can also be utilized by law enforcement and by public safety. So,
and just to comment, nothing is concrete about this report. So it's just an initial report. Still going to take in opinions. There's still going to be a lot that may change. So this, by all means, feel free to amend us.
So then in that initial meeting, what is it that you're trying to accomplish then? That you're going to have amongst yourself is going to be
What initial? Parks. So it's just like,
I keep forgetting what it's called. The Venice Beach Public Safety Needs Assessment meeting will be this one that you want to have as soon as possible. Is going to be the first in a series. It's not going to be a one and only.
So we would like it to be heard with the VNC to take a position, and then we will have it heard in the council committee, Parks and Aging. That's what I'm going to call it. And then it would be heard before the full board. So much like this neighborhood council, you hear it at committee, then you hear it at the full board.
Got it.
So we can offer recommendations for improvements to this, or
Yeah.
it's not just cut and dry?
It's not cut and dry.
Okay, so
Sorry. So my question is, where is the Department of Rec and Parks getting $1,200,000?
They don't know yet.
Okay, it's suspect.
Well, I think they worked with Bureau of Engineering to get those details. They looked at different areas like Santa Monica, UCLA, looking at how much those bollards cost. So they looked at what they cost in different areas. Then they also have to account for the fact that we're right by sand and we're right by salty area.
so
From this appellant of the zip line, this opposition, it's suspect to me that there was no money to ever clean the bathrooms, and therefore we have to privatize the beach to get money from the tourists, to get money from the bathrooms, and all of a sudden it's $1 million.
We still have to identify the money's not there yet.
it hasn't been identified.
It says via contracts awarded by either RFP, that's Department of Rec and Parks. What is BLE?
Bureau of Engineering.
And
So
I would like to make an observation too. Ever since those temporary bollards have been up, there's been all this discussion about steam cleaning the boardwalk and steam cleaning this and making it more sanitary and on and on and on. And all they've done is hamper the trucks that used to come and pick up the trash. And I don't know how that's going to square with the bollards either. This doesn't seem to me like a reasonable solution, and I would like to see some serious discussion of alternatives. And I don't mean decorative flower boxes and stuff like that. I mean, something that maintains the flow of pedestrian traffic and doesn't hamper it. It's still I think it's getting done. I just don't think it's been done. Everybody's been pointing out it.
all right, I think that's a good segue into the next section, but let's regress since we had a printing issue and approve the agenda. So I move to approve the agenda. Does anybody like to second that, please?
I second that.
Thank you. Okay, so what we've done is if you look at number 1, discussing the interdepartmental plan with Ms. Castillo, and we've heard from committee members, and if you all just bear with me, we'll get to your point, Therese, which is discussing being able to discuss this further. So the third item of number 1 is determining whether or not the Oceanfront Walk Public Safety Town Hall could possibly take place prior to the next above hearing. And so we've talked about the potential date of October 29th as a date that is available by the outreach committee, who we will hear from here momentarily, and a possible date that may work for Councilman Bonin. So this was actually skipping around a little bit, but I think that we can discuss that right now. So this is a date, and we're going to talk more about the town hall where this issue can be further discussed. The question is whether or not this town hall can occur before the councilman's office has to meet and start to make decisions. So the date that has been discussed is October 29th. So I'd like to hear from Ms. Castillo and Mr. Klein of the Outreach Committee as to whether or not it's possible to hold a public Oceanfront Walk Public Safety Town Hall on October 29th.
What day of the week it is?
What day of the week is it? That's an excellent
Tuesday.
question.
Tuesday?
It's a Tuesday, so that's
At
it.
night, right?
Yeah.
I think
Is that on or before the next board meeting?
The next board meeting would be the
The
third.
next board meeting,
Yeah, the
correct?
board meetings are
If it's not at the next board meeting, I think what would be ideal would be the town hall and a special meeting immediately after, so that the
On the same
VNC,
day.
yeah, so the VNC can take a vote.
The third
Get all the numbers together.
The third Tuesday in October is the 15th. Whether or not our VNC meeting is the 15th or the 22nd, I think it's the.
No.
What?
It's usually- I think it's always the second Tuesday of the month.
It's the 15th.
It's the 15th. Okay, so the meeting is on the 15th, and so this would be the 29th, which would be 2 weeks following the town hall. And so, is there a possibility that Councilman Bonin will be able to attend on that date?
Yeah, so the only 2 days in October where he would be available to give opening remarks would be on the 8th and the 29th.
Okay.
Everything else besides Fridays, which I'm sure you don't want to do at town hall on Friday, is jam-packed.
Okay. So, Mr. Klein, would you like to weigh in? And I know that this is all in flux, but you want to talk about?
Well, I just want to make sure we don't miss any windows before. We don't have a date for when it's going to be before the committee, right? But
Not yet, but if it doesn't happen in November, so we've got council recess in December, you've got Thanksgiving at the end of November, so we would ideally like to schedule it in November.
Yeah.
November. Okay, so we were doing something on the 29th. It would not be too late.
No.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's leave it at that. That is the target date, and that we're going for.
Okay, so you have that on the 29th, and the next VNC meeting is,
November.
it's gonna be
Yeah, but if
November
you-
what?
if-
What
Cecilia
Cecilia
said
is saying is that we would call a special VNC meeting
Okay,
immediately
all right.
after town hall that night, because
Okay.
theoretically the board should all be at the town hall.
Okay.
And then everyone will have
Then
heard
everyone
all
will
of
have just heard it, everybody can vote, everyone will just heard from the community.
We could even take a special vote at that meeting.
Yeah.
We just have to call it as a meeting so that
Special
public
meeting,
can notice
yeah.
that there would be a vote that night. And we don't do
Excuse
something.
me. Well, I don't know anymore.
Okay.
Tell it.
I know, it's my Irish wife.
Are you serious? You never met?
I know.
How's that
No, it's
possible?
not slow.
Gail,
Okay.
Gail, you want a Burning Man?
Okay, so,
Okay.
moving on to number 2. Oceanfront Walk Town Hall Series. So, Mr. Klein, last month, we voted on a motion to have a town hall that would on the Oceanfront Walk in conjunction with your committee that would include the following topics. I'll just read the motion as we read it and voted on last month in September. The Oceanfront Walk Committee moves to have the topic of the October 13th Venice Neighborhood Council Town Hall meeting be on Oceanfront Walk as a designated park. That whole thing should be italic, or should be in quotes. Oceanfront Walk as a designated park. And as such, have a line item in the Recreation and Parks budget to handle the issues of public safety, revenue enhancement, mobility, and beautification as the 4 topics. And we voted in favor of that. Having said that, I would like to make a motion to amend this motion, which would say that the Oceanfront Walk Committee moves to have a series of Oceanfront Walk Town Hall meetings on Oceanfront Walk as a designated park, and have each one of the town halls have 4 town halls, in each one be on the following 4 topics. The first one, public safety. The second one, revenue enhancement. The third one, mobility. The fourth one, beautification. In other words, Matt, what I'm suggesting is a series of 4 town halls on each one of these topics as opposed to 1 town hall, which I know was the issue, that 1 town hall would be too much to try to cover all of these topics. So the motion that I'm bringing before this committee now is to have a series of 4 town halls on the same 4 topics that we had that we had voted and agreed on in the last meeting. So I'd like to make that motion. Do I have anybody second?
So wait, can I just reiterate what it is really quick? The Oceanfront Walk Committee moves to recommend that the VNC host a series of Oceanfront Walk Town Halls on the following topics in the following order. Is that okay?
Okay.
Mobility is what exactly?
Mobility includes transportation, parking, bicycles, mopeds, go-peds, skateboards,
Like
roller
their
skates,
regulation.
Yeah.
inline skates,
Regulation, maintenance.
unicycles.
Yeah.
What's permitted on the boardwalk?
Sure.
Yeah,
Bike racks.
yeah, like whether or not,
Expanding
Gail
bike
can
path.
ride a, what do you call those things, with the big wheel?
Can I say something?
No,
too?
the old style.
I think it's just more important that we vote that we have a series of town halls, because we can always amend
That's
what
what
the
the vote is.
topics will be after we have the first.
But if somebody wants to ask what mobility means, that's good.
Oh, yeah,
So,
I was
yeah,
just
so-
explaining to everybody else,
Sure.
not.
Right.
well, good.
Second.
Is there public comment?
Yeah.
There should be
Yeah.
public comment on everything that
Yeah.
you bring up.
Okay.